All right, hello and welcome everybody to Return of Rome, the upcoming AoE2 DE expansion, all focused on AoE1 stuff in AoE2. I am part of the content creator preview program, along with, I'm sure, a bunch of other guys that you follow. And yeah, we are going to be able to bring you some of the content that we will be experiencing in Return of Rome a little bit ahead of time before the DLC's launch on May 16th. So, as you can see, the basic framework of this DLC is that you can select between AoE2 DE and Return of Rome. It's just a little bit of a loading screen, and then you're switching right over into AoE1. Now, I can't do any campaign content before the launch of the DLC. Like, I literally can't. It's grayed out. So this is all going to be focused on multiplayer content, stuff that, I can do before the DLC's launch, and I thought no better way to start than what we will be getting in AoE 2, and that is, of course, going to be the Roman civilization. So, unfortunately, I don't have access to the editor, which would make my life much easier, but we can still see what these guys are all about in the tech tree. Alright, guys, here are the Romans. And remember, they are not going to be available for play in ranked mode, but they are available in like skirmish games. You can play them in custom lobbies. No idea what the stance of tournaments is going to be with this civilization. I imagine it will follow suit with ranked, but yeah, guys, this is the Romans. They are classified as an infantry civilization, and that certainly makes sense. First bonus is their eco bonus. Villagers gather, build, and repair 5% faster. So this is just the slight eco boost that has been around in custom civs for a while. Your villagers are just a little bit better at everything. It's a small boost, but it does affect, everything. And that is certainly nice. It's not, I think, going to be like a top tier eco bonus by any means, but it is helpful. Note, and we'll go through the tech tree in just a little bit, being able to build faster means apparently you can't get treadmill crane. So you get only 25% the effect of treadmill crane from the start of the game, but you can't get treadmill crane itself, so feels bad, man. Now, the next two bonuses kind of go together. Galley line gain +1 attack, and war galleys get +1/+1 armor, and then galleons and drummonds get +2/+2 armor. Now, if you're wondering what a drummond is, it is the new kind of regional ship-ish, and it will be available to the Romans. And if you think, okay, well, I don't care, that's not going to be in ranked, you'd be wrong. It is also available to the Huns. It's available to the Goths. And it is available to the Byzantines. And the Byzantine ones even benefit from the faster attack speed bonus, so their drummonds attack 25% faster. Now, what exactly is a drummond? It is a cannon galleon replacement. So civs that, if you have drummonds, you don't have cannon galleons of any kind. It's like a long-range mangonel on the water. It's good against buildings. We'll test it more in detail once we have access to the scenario editor. But just from like my initial tests, it does feel comparable to a cannon galleon. I think cannon galleons are going to be stronger in terms of just raw DPS versus buildings. Your range actually isn't quite as good. You only have 12 range, as opposed to the elite cannon galleon's 15. So you actually will struggle against stuff like Korean keeps and Teuton castles and all that stuff. We can get more into that in a little bit. Essentially, it's a long-range sea mangonel. Other bonuses. This bonus here. Your ships are super tanky, and they have extra tech. That sounds ridiculously overpowered, but as we'll get to in a bit, they don't have bracer. And they're missing some other techs like dry dock. So it's really strong. They have strong, slow ships, do the Romans. Now, infantry receive double effect from blacksmith armor upgrades. Again, that sounds ridiculously overpowered until you realize they don't have the last armor upgrade. So what does this mean in practice? You research scale mail armor in the feudal age for your infantry. They'll, instead of getting +1/+1 armor, they'll be getting +2/+2 armor. So it's like, you spend the resources for one, and then you also get the effect of chainmail armor. That could be really strong, as archers will be dealing only 2 damage to you, and the melee units are going to be just tickling you. In the mid-game, you get +4/+4 armor, which is literally better than plate mail armor. Plate mail with full upgrades is +3/+4, so you actually get 1 more melee armor over generic. Now, For your swordsmen, you don't have supplies or gambesons, so that is going to be tampering that a little bit, and of course you don't have the last armor upgrade. Essentially, you can get a slightly better version of full armor for your infantry in the Castle Age. But Romans have some funky things that we'll be getting to in a little bit. And this is one of them. Scorpions cost minus 60% gold and benefit from ballistics. So this is Schlachta Scorpions. So Pole Knights, they're 60 food, 30 gold. Scorpions for Romans are 75 wood and 30 gold. So not too expensive. And I did a little bit of testing just versus the AI. And the ballistic scorpions, they hit moving targets really well. And they have some other scorpion bonuses here that, Romans are going to give Chimera a run for their money in terms of scorpion strength. And of course, that discount is absolutely critical because, as we'll see in a second, Romans have terrible archers. So yeah, you need to have good scorpions there. Unique units we'll get to in a minute. Unique text, ballistas. Scorpions and galleys fire 33% faster, so the actual DPS of the Roman ships is really high. They're just slow, because you don't have dry dock, and you just don't have the range because of lacking bracer. And of course, the scorpion bonus, you think of Celt scorpions being very powerful because of the faster fire rate. That is 20%. This is 33%, so it's even more powerful. Saracens, it's going to be your galleys attack even faster than Saracen galleons, but again, you miss that critical bracer upgrade. Still really strong, though. I mean, it's just a big old raw DPS increase. Imperial Age unique tech, committed tenses. I don't speak Latin. Militia line, knight line, and centurions train 50% faster and receive a charge attack. So it's 2 bonuses in 1. It is... the 50% faster train speed, that's just really, really good. You can pump out those units. Legionaries are your swordsmen equivalent in the late game. You have just regular cavaliers with full upgrades, no paladin. And then your centurion is your castle age unique unit, or your castle unique unit, rather. And we'll get to those in more detail in a little bit. Oh yeah, ballistas, it's 400 with 300 gold. It's fairly expensive for a Castle Age unique tech, but it has a super powerful effect, so that is fine. This is 700 food, 800 gold, because not only do you train faster, but that charge attack is +6. So it's nowhere near a Custier, and you don't have the blast damage of an Arumi swordsman, but it is just +6 attack that you're getting every so often. Again, having access to the editor would make figuring out the specifics more easy, but still, it is a really powerful bonus because just getting extra attack and the fast train speed means you can just churn out those units if you have the eco in the late game. Team bonus, Scorpion line minimum range reduced. So this is kind of like the Koreans who have the reduced range for their mangonels. For Scorpions, they have a minimum range of 2 typically, 2 tiles, and with a Roman ally, you have only a minimum range of 1. Considering Scorpions are going to be your ranged unit in most situations, that is really helpful in case they are getting run down by enemy cavalry. So, all of these bonuses, you have kind of like a generalist bonus, you have some navy bonuses, some infantry bonuses, and some scorpion bonuses. It's a little all over the place, but the power level is certainly there. If the Civ were to be available in ranked, I think it would be pretty good. It's hard to say exactly where, but their units themselves are really strong. And so let's get into that with the tech tree. So archery range, it's bad. It's really bad. You miss out on arbalests, obviously no gunpowder as the Romans. You do have elite skirmisher. You have ring archer armor, but missing bracer and thumb ring, Parthian tactics. It's a really bad archery range. Not exactly the selling point of the civilization. So use archers in early game as needed, but other than elite skirmishers, you're probably not going to be using them past early Castle Age. Barracks. This is, of course, where the Civ is supposed to shine. You have no supplies and gambesons right off the bat, although with your bonus of the double blacksmith upgrades plus the legionary unique unit, which I'll get to in just a second, you are, in effect, getting tankier infantry. Your halberdiers are basically 1 more melee armor than generic, with having to pay fewer resources for it, so their halbs are going to be very strong. But now we get to the legionary, which cannot be discounted because you don't have supplies, but as you can see here, Roman unique infantry unit, strong versus buildings and infantry, weak versus archers at long range. By the way, the upgrade is 800 food and 400 gold, so it is pretty comparable to two-handed swordsman plus champion. You don't have two-handed swordsman at all. Obviously, this replaces the champion. So it's actually around the same price as two-handed swordsman plus champion. If you look in the Genie editor and figure out, okay, what exactly does this unit have going on? First, we can see that hit points 75, so 5 more than a champion. It says right here you have 2/2 armor, so 1 more melee armor than a champion, on top of the 1 more melee armor that you're getting because of the doubled up blacksmith upgrades. And the 2 pierce armor means you essentially make up for not having gambesons. So you still end up with the same pierce armor as a fully upgraded champion, I think. Then, other values. Your movement speed is exactly the same as a champion. Your reload time is the same. Bonus damage. So you get 8 bonus damage versus Eagle Warrior, so same as a champion. 4 bonus damage versus standard buildings. Oh yeah, you also have 1 less base attack, so that makes up for the champion as far as that goes. You also get 4 bonus damage versus infantry. So you're not a Jaguar Warrior. It's only 4 bonus damage, but it's still something. And especially once you throw in the charge attack as well as the Centurion bonus that we'll get to in a second, this is a unit that feels better than a champion in general. It's either comparable or slightly better, but it can get a lot better once you start adding in the charge attack, and we'll get to more of that in a second. So that is going to be the Legionary unique unit. It's a cooler, slightly better champion with some anti-infantry bonus damage. So infantry, it is expensive. The Roman units tend to be pretty expensive, but they are on the strong side. Kind of good general purpose infantry play. Stable. It looks really bad, but that's just because there's a lot of sort of regional cavalry units. You have all the blacksmith upgrades. You have blast furnace and plate barding armor. So you have fully upgraded cavalier that do benefit from the extra 6 charge attack that you can get from comitatenses. So your cavalier are really strong. Your light cav are just fine. They're there. You got bloodlines and husbandry. Knight play in the mid game going to be totally fine with this civilization. And then maybe you could go for swordsman as well. It's fine. The knight play sounds awesome, but the centurions are so much cooler, and I feel like you're going to want to be making those if possible. But the fact that you can train them super fast and they get the charge attack means that in a lot of cases your cavalry play is going to be quite powerful. Siege. This is definitely one of the strong points of the civilization. You don't have bombard cannon and you don't have siege onager, but you have fully upgraded siege rams. Oh yeah, I guess I should say you have siege engineers, unless I am mistaken. Yes, you do. So that is all there for you. And of course, your scorpions are absolutely insane. Fully upgraded, you got the 60% gold discount, you benefit from ballistics, you fire 33% faster, and you have reduced minimum range. Like, these scorpions are absolutely insane, and like I said, will be largely going to be the center of your ranged unit army. I mean, these scorpions are cheaper on the gold cost than archers. It's pretty wild. And that ballistics definitely don't sleep on that effect. The ballistics, scorpions are pretty inaccurate against units at range, but with ballistics, it becomes so much better. So yeah, siege, definitely. You can see that infantry, cavalry, siege. We have these sorts of civs, Bulgarians, Slavs, Celts to a degree. This basic archetype of civ is something that we've seen before. I mean, we've seen all the archetypes basically at this stage in AoE2's development, as we now have 43 civs. Blacksmith. It's not the prettiest thing ever. Missing Bracer is huge. Makes your archer play terrible in the late game. You have enough bonuses to your galleys and whatnot to make up for that, so your navy is still quite strong, if not slightly slow. Defenses are definitely hit a little bit by this, though. Romans not so much about the strong defenses as they are about the strong units. And missing plate mail armor doesn't really matter because, again, you get basically a better version of it. I've already talked about it a fair amount, but the Navy here, you miss the demo ship line entirely, just like Koreans. So, no boomy boats for the Romans. That said, you do have fast fire ships, you have shipwright, and then, of course, you have your galleons that get the extra armor and the +1 attack. This helps your navy a lot in the early game, just getting that extra bit of damage. It helps your war galleys and whatnot versus fire ships. Getting an extra bit of damage there is really huge in the mid game. And then in the late game, you still have shipwright. Your ships are a little on the slow side, but are other than that, again, very high damage. And then your drummin will help in, I think, large ship battles in the late game, as well as anti-building utility. Again, wait for the scenario editor to be available so we can test that out in more detail. It's also cheaper than a cannon galleon, by the way. 25 less wood. And you don't need any text to get it, so no chemistry needed. Speaking of which, defenses. They're okay. You have masonry and architecture. You miss hoardings for your castles. You have siege engineers, which is nice. Your keeps miss bracer. You do have fortified wall, which is handy, but it's not really like a huge selling point to the Romans. Romans are about conquest and expansion, or something. Now we get to the castle. The Centurion unique unit. Look at this guy. 75 food, 85 gold. It is 15 more food and 10 more gold than a regular knight. Roman unique cavalry unit. Increases the movement and attack speed of nearby militia line units. Strong versus infantry, weak versus pikemen and camels. Alright, let's go back to the Genie editor. Alright, so right off the bat, we can see that the Centurion is basically a really good knight. Just front and center. You have 20 more HP. You bloodlines, remember, so you get 140 HP on these guys in the Castle Age. Same base movement speed as a knight. You get 3 more attack. You do have a slightly slower reload time. No real bonus damage, just like a knight. But 13 base attack. Remember, knights only have 10, so you're getting 30% more damage with a slightly slower fire rate. But still, this is a strong knight. Also, check out this armor. I can show you guys the units in-game in a second, but yeah, they got 2-3 armor. So 1 more pierce armor than a knight and the same melee armor. Like, these are some strong units. And that is sort of the base unit. It's a strong knight. However, that doesn't really speak to their unique ability. Increases the movement speed and attack speed of nearby militia line units. Maybe you can find that out in the Genie editor. I'm not really smart enough with it to do that. At first glance, it seems like around a 2-tile radius, so it's not super big, but it makes your, legionaries and swordsmen in general attack faster and move a bit faster as well. So you get Celt plus Japanese swordsmen, and they can also train really fast. Remember the Centurions, as well as the swordsmen themselves. So in late game big mosh pit fights, the Romans should be really, really strong. But, I mean, these Centurion units are incredibly expensive. One of the most expensive unique units. Now, the Elite upgrade, 1,100 food, 900 gold. That is quite expensive. But as you can see, 155 HP. You get Bloodlines there, and it is only 5 less HP than a Paladin. You have 1 more attack and 1 more melee armor. So, this Civ basically gets Paladins. Also, you have the charge attack aspect of it. So, it's +6 with the charge attack. So, I mean, you might think that the Cavalier play is quite strong with this Civ, and it's not bad. But it's just the Centurions are so much more awesome, man. Yeah, this could be very difficult to stop if you get these guys going in the later stages of the game. Still would love to have access to the editor to test this stuff in more detail, but that will have to wait until the 16th, it seems. Monastery. This is such a troll monastery, guys. Oh, you got Redemption, you got Atonement. Oh, wait, you don't have Sanctity. Oh. So, you have Redemption, but your monks still die in one hit to mangonels and bombard cannons. You have block printing, but you don't have Theocracy. It's a really awkward monastery, so it's going to be difficult to use. Notably, you don't have Heresy, so all your fancy expensive units can be converted in the late game. Moving on to the economy, you have your eco bonus of everything working a little bit better. It's just a nice boost. But beyond that, you don't have stone shaft mining. No one really cares about that. You have the legendary crop rotation, but no two-man saw. And you have guilds. So all of that is totally fine. So what to think of the Romans as a civ? Obviously, this isn't available in ranked, so for, people like me who are very interested in the competitive and esports sides of things, we probably won't see the civ all that often. But for casual play, this seems like a fun civ. You have some really strong units, a decent eco, you have some interesting things on the water, you have interesting things with your infantry, with your scorpions, you have the cavalry play, so there are different things you can go for that will feel powerful with the Romans. In terms of just sort of slotting into meta play, I don't really think this matters too much because, again, we're not seeing them in ranked. It's mostly just going to be about fun, casual, big late-game mosh pit armies, and Romans are going to thrive there. Could this civ be played in ranked? Honestly, it's hard to say. They feel like they could be really strong in the late game for sure, but you don't have any gunpowder and you don't have a great monk, so that is going to be sort of inherently balanced as far as that goes. It would probably feel a little bit meh in like open maps if you play them on like a, you know, relatively high level, because just the 5% bonus, it's nice, but it's not going to be anything I think that's going to be too overwhelming. And unless you're going for a lot of infantry play or scorpion play, like these units are fundamentally a little bit situational. So if you're, you know, we live in an archer mangonel meta, and you don't really have that going for you as a big strength of the Romans. But still, like I said, once you get to late game and you get your unique techs and your centurions and your legionaries that are attacking insanely fast and moving fast, that will probably be very, very oppressive if it is in the live game. So it might be, again, this seems like a Civ that's more focused towards casual play, which is ostensibly the point of the Civ. So as far as that goes, I guess have fun with it. It's just kind of weird because we've never had a Civ like this before. Now, before I sign off, I do want to just show you guys some of the units and stats and stuff like that so you can get a more visual perspective. But here's the intro music. Very imperial. Anyway, I'm going to jump ahead and so we can actually show you guys all the different units and whatnot. Something weird happened with the hotkeys. I hope this gets fixed soon, but normally I just use B and then whatever building, but like I'm trying to build a barracks and it just keeps on deselecting. Hope that gets fixed. All right, so as you guys can see here, without any upgrades research, we have that extra +1 attack, but no extra armor until we get the War Galley upgrade. It's still going to be very nice early on the water. Also, scale mail armor just came in. You can see we already have +2/+2, so 3 pierce armor for our infantry. Means we will be taking only 2 damage from archers. It's basically like do-it-yourself Malians. But the extra, having the 2 melee armor for your swordsman could mean fighting them with villagers is very difficult. All right, War Galley is in, and you can see you immediately get that extra armor. It's like getting Karak for free, the Portuguese Castle Age unique tech, so yeah, that's pretty strong. Now, chainmail armor has come in, and you can see we're already at +4/+4 for these swordsmen. So 5 pierce armor in the Castle Age, no Gambesons, remember, means that you have the same pierce armor as something like an Eagle Warrior with chainmail armor, and then 5 melee armor is like you're negating half the base attack of a knight. So your swordsman play will be quite strong, insofar as any sort of Castle Age long swordsman play is good. Castle is up. Here we can see we have our centurions, and that's what the castle looks like. It is Roman, obviously. Also, the architecture, as you can obviously see, is going to be the Southern European one. Makes sense for this Civ. But yeah, you can see these centurions here. They look super awesome. Insanely good stats, but with a price tag to match. And you can see that I don't have squires in, but when these units are moving together, it does feel a bit faster. So I think it might be 10% movement speed. We will have to test this more going forward. Also, to get the benefit from scorpions and ballistics, I'm pretty sure you actually have to research ballistics, which, you know, it's the same as usual. All right, now you can see that the Galleon has +2 melee armor. Galleons obviously don't normally have any native melee armor, and with careening, you get that extra 1 pierce armor, so you actually have 11 pierce armor in total, which means that cav archers and arbalests are only dealing 1 damage to these ships. Here's the legionary upgrade, 800 food, 400 gold. You can see, just looks like that. Oh yeah, a change I forgot to mention. Cannon galleons now benefit from siege engineers. So they should be getting +1 range and the extra bonus damage versus buildings. And it looks like that applies to Drummonds as well. You can see 125 HP, it's a little bit less than a cannon galleon. Okay-ish armor, you can see right here. It's literally firing big old mangonel rocks. Whee! So pretty solid damage versus buildings. Haven't done the full comparison yet, though, versus cannon galleons. We will save that for the editor. And because why not, I made a bunch of scorpions here with full upgrades as the Romans. And it'll be killing stuff. It'll be killing stuff well. But yeah, here's what the legionaries look like. Look at these guys go, man. This poor standard AI has no chance. But you can see that they're hitting everything with ballistics. Oh, my bad, guys. It's +5 attack, not +6 attack with the unique tech. But you can see Legionaries have 6/6 armor with full upgrades. So that is going to be 2 more melee armor than a regular champion. You can see how fast these Cavalier train with the unique tech, how fast the Legionaries train, and how fast the Centurions train. All of that is certainly going to be quite strong. And here is even the Roman wonder. It is literally the Colosseum that has been in the game since the Forgotten, I think? But still, it makes sense as a, the Roman wonder. It's the Colosseum. It's pretty neat. Here are the Centurions with full upgrades, so 1 more armor than a Paladin, 1 more attack, 5 more HP, and the AI just can't handle my awesomeness and is going to give up. Anyway, guys, that is going to be the AoE2 side of Return to Rome, as in the Roman civilization. As I keep saying, we'll do plenty more testing with these guys once the DLC actually drops and we have access to everything. But for the time being, I thought that that would be a cool intro for you guys just to see what's going on. So definitely be sure to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed and subscribe to the channel for tons more content for Return to Rome, both single player and multiplayer. Gonna do some AoE 1, some AoE 2, mostly AoE 2, let's be honest. But yeah, we'll do some stuff with AoE 1. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.